Hi, so today we will be doing a value scale, also known as a tonal value scale. Value refers to the lightness or darkness of a color. It's the series of space filled with various shades of a color or various tones of a color. So here we have a grayscale of tones from lightness to the darkness, and you can see the transition as it gets darker and darker from white all the way to dark. So this is a video on how to get the tones or the value from light to dark. We are going to draw 3 rectangles. However, we're going to do one. I'm going to give you an example of how to get a value scale using squares, and we need 10 squares. So each square should measure 1 inch from the big mark here. This mark, that's 1 inch. When you're measuring with your ruler, you always start at the mark here and not at the edge of the ruler, because from here to here is going to be taller than from here to here, or longer. Alright, so 10 inches. Can you see? Bring it a little bit closer. Alright, cool. We'll tick off here. Ensure that your ruler is straight. So we're going to draw a line all the way to the 10 inch. If you have a slim ruler like this, you can use both sides. Bingo. Draw a line here, and then we're going to measure 1 inch all the way down. So each big mark, tick. So that's 2 squares already. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're gonna come down here, do the same thing, line it up here to here. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we connect the ticks. Hold that one shift a bit, so I have to go back. Make sure you have your eraser to erase the lines. So we got that line erased. So we're gonna continue. There we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now we are going to begin to shade. We're going to use a drawing pencil. This is a 6B, however it's faded, but I also have a 4B. The difference between 3B, 2B, 3B, 4B, 6B, the higher the number is, the darker the shading gets. Alright, so we're going to start with the first square. You're going to use the side of your pencil, not the point, and you're going to gently shade it. When shading it, you use little or no pressure. Pressure where you know about pressure. Where you know about pressure. See that? Very, very light. When shading, you shade in one direction, just like the band, the group, one direction. So there's 2 ways to doing this. You can shade the entire squares light all the way down. Make sure nothing is there to let your work messed up. You shade in the squares, not outside. Outside is dirty. Outside has the coronavirus. So you stay on the inside of the squares, not the outside. No white, little or no white should be showing through your shading. Alright, good. After we have that, we're going to do the next square, go down. You're going to go over the shading on the second square. Side to side. Notice the tone, this is a little bit darker than the first tone, the first square. So you continue with that little pressure all the way down on the squares. Notice there's no lines in my shading. I'm using the side of my pencil, just the side. Good. Now I'm going to move on to the next square. Now that I'm overlapping, it should get darker. If it's not getting darker or it's too close to this, you add a little bit more pressure. There you go. Notice it's darker, and then you continue with that same amount of pressure onto the other squares. Good. Now we're going to move on to the fourth one. Overlapping again. Is it darker? No, so we need to add a little bit more pressure. Bingo. And then we'll continue with that same amount of pressure. Try to be consistent. Try not to let any lines show in your shading. Bingo. Moving on to the next square, next cube. A little bit more pressure again. Darker, yes, so yeah, continue with that pressure. This is helping your fine motor skills, also with your eyesight, to know the difference between each tone. Remember, shading one direction. Where are we here? So moving on to the next square, a little bit darker. Oh my god, a little bit too dark, but hey, let's see it work. Is it darker? Alright, good. Let's continue. You don't want it to get too dark too quick, so do not press too hard, too quick. Right, now moving on to the next one. Nice. There we go. Alright, for this instance, you can't see the difference. You take your ruler. Even though I said shade in one direction, if you're good enough, you take your time and do the edges. Continue down with that same tone, same darkness, same pressure. You might realize that you can't see the lines. You have to judge it. Or if you want, you can go over with the ruler to highlight those lines, just in case you can't see them. Good. We just did this. Now we're moving on to this one. More pressure. See it getting darker. You have to add pressure to the pencil. Press down on the pencil to get it darker. See the darkness, pressure going across. Almost there. So we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can you see the transition of it getting darker and darker and darker? This two might be too close, so I might have to go over this a little darker again. Right? And sometimes you might go over and you realize that two squares are too close, and you might have to go over on the next one. That's not a problem. You just don't want two squares, two tones to be identical. Notice this and this might seem the same again, so go over the tone again. And that's a part of life. Sometimes you have to do things twice, 3 times, 4 times before you get it correct. This and this is still too close, so I need to go a little bit darker. Bingo, see? I have to go over it, and I'm not complaining because I want it to be the best it can be. Yeah man, see that? Alright, next one now, almost there, 2 more to go. This should be dark. This should be darker than this. So I'm gonna add some more pressure. Is it close? Still can be a little bit darker. Then go over the lines again, just in case I can't see them. I'm using a 4B. If it's with the 6B, I know I can get real dark. I might use a 6B for the last one. Voila. So the last one now should be really dark. This one I'm adding a lot of pressure. See how black that is? Almost like a marker. Yep, shading pencil can get it that dark. If you didn't know. Bum, 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 bum. Darker. This is a lot of pressure I'm adding. Trying to get the edges neat and nice here. Feels like I'm showing lines, and I don't want lines. I want to show that I'm shading with my 6B. So I might have to use my 6B here to get it really dark. Yeah, got it. Then I'm going to use the 6B and go over with the lines again, get it nice and neat. There you have your value scale, or your tonal value scale. Try and get it. Value scale, they are the tones from light to dark. Yeah, so I want you to try that. 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 columns, 10 boxes, 10 squares. Should be 1 inch across, 1 inch down, or you can use the width of a slim ruler to get the measurement. It's not really a square, it's not really 1 inch, the width of a ruler, almost 1 1/4. But if some of you have small rulers like this, and so be the case, it should still measure 1 inch, 1 inch down. If you have this ruler, still measure 1 inch from here to here. But if you have a slim ruler, just draw the line here and there. So let me see you try that with this. Thanks for watching.